Ready to unleash your inner badass. We're diving into Jen Sincero's You Are a Badass
I
today.
am so here for that.
I have to admit, the title, it's a little in your face at first, isn't it?
Yeah, I get that. It can definitely feel a bit over the top in the self-help aisle.
Right.
But honestly, once you get past that, that initial, whoa, hold on a minute feeling,
Totally.
there's some seriously good stuff in here. Sincera's got this way of sneaking up on you with these profound insights.
It's so true. It's like one minute she's cracking a joke about parking tickets, and the next she's dropping some serious wisdom about, like, the meaning of life.
Exactly. Like,
Wow.
wait, did she just blow my mind while talking about bad boyfriends?
Right. So speaking of mind-blowing, let's talk about this idea of the subconscious blueprint that Sincero keeps coming back to. Remember that story she tells at the beginning about the bowling accident?
Oh, yeah. Wild.
It's hilarious, right?
Yeah.
But it also kind of makes you think, like, wow, our beliefs run deep.
Deep and often totally hidden. I mean, she's bowling with her family, for goodness sake.
Exactly. And that one incident, it completely shapes her understanding of her own potential.
And it's such a perfect example of how those subconscious beliefs can really hold us back, even when we don't realize they're there.
It's like we're running around with these outdated maps,
Yeah.
guiding our lives based on beliefs we formed when we were like 5 years old.
It's so true. And a lot of times, those beliefs weren't even ours to begin with, right? They were passed down from our parents, our teachers, society.
It's like inheriting a house that you didn't get to decorate. You're kind of stuck with the shag carpeting and the floral wallpaper, unless you decide to do some serious renovations.
And that's what Sincero is encouraging us to do, to renovate those old beliefs,
Yeah.
to create a life that's truly our own.
Love it. And I have to say, she doesn't sugarcoat it either. I mean, one of my favorite lines in the whole book is when she says, "It's not your fault that you're fucked up. It's your fault if you stay fucked up."
Yeah, she's got a way with words, that's for sure. But she's absolutely right, isn't she?
Absolutely. It's like, okay, we all have baggage. We all have those subconscious gremlins whispering doubts in our ears. But we don't have to let them run the show.
So true. Awareness is key. Once we're aware of those limiting beliefs, we can start to change them.
Right. Which brings us to the big question. How do we even begin to identify those hidden beliefs, those subconscious gremlins that are holding us back?
Sincero talks about this idea of source energy, which I think can be a helpful way to think about it.
Okay, yeah, source energy. What is that exactly? I mean, I feel like I should know this, but sometimes I get a little fuzzy on the details.
Totally get it. It can sound a little woo at times.
Right.
But at its core, think of source energy as this limitless power source, right? It's like the universe's Wi-Fi. It's always there, available to everyone.
Okay, I like the sound of that.
But just like you need the right password to connect to the Wi-Fi, you need the right mindset to tap into that source energy.
So our thoughts are like the password. I think I can get on board with that.
Exactly.
And once we connect to that universal Wi-Fi, then what?
Yeah.
What happens?
Then, my friend, the magic starts to happen. We start to manifest the lives we want.
Okay, sign me up. I love that. The magic starts to happen. But how do we make sure we've got the right password? What are some of the things that might block us from connecting to that awesome universal Wi-Fi?
Well, Sincero talks a lot about the importance of belief, like
Right.
really truly believing in our own potential, even when it feels impossible. Have you ever had those flying dreams?
Oh my gosh, yes. All the time. It's like the best feeling ever.
Right, but then, sometimes in those dreams, doubt creeps in and suddenly you start to fall.
Oh, yes.
I mean,
The worst. Like, wait, I can't actually fly, and then boom, you're plummeting back to Earth.
Yeah.
So frustrating.
Exactly, and that's kind of what Sincero is talking about. Those moments of doubt, those limiting beliefs, they're like dream killers in real life, too.
So how do we fight back? How do we quiet that inner critic that says, you can't do that, or that's impossible?
Well, one thing that Sincero is a huge advocate for is meditation.
Okay, meditation. I have to admit, sometimes that word, I don't know, it feels a little intimidating. Like incense and chanting and sitting in uncomfortable positions.
I hear you. But Sincero's approach is actually super approachable.
Okay, good.
She's not talking about becoming a meditation master overnight. It's more about finding small moments throughout the day to just quiet your mind, even if it's just for a minute or two.
Like a mental reset button.
Exactly. Because, let's be honest, most of the time, our minds are like a runaway train of thoughts.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's like a never-ending loop of to-do lists imaginary arguments, and that embarrassing thing I said 5 years ago.
Totally. And Sincero compares our minds to those old school answering
Oh,
machines,
I remember those.
playing the same old messages over and over again.
So true.
So meditation is like hitting the pause button on that mental chatter, even for a little bit.
Okay, I can see how that would be helpful.
Yeah.
But how does quieting our minds actually help us, manifest our dreams?
Well, Sincero believes that when we create that stillness, that quiet space within, we can start to connect with our intuition, our inner wisdom.
Okay, I like where you're going with this.
Like we all have this wise, powerful being inside us, just waiting for us to quiet down long enough to hear it.
I love that. It's like our own personal Yoda, just hanging out in our subconscious, waiting to offer sage advice.
Yes. And here's the really cool part. When we connect with that inner badass, Sincero believes we start to vibrate at a different frequency.
A different frequency. Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this.
It's like we're tuning into a different channel, one that's aligned with source energy, with abundance, with limitless possibilities.
It's like upgrading from dial-up to high-speed internet.
Exactly. And that's when the real magic starts to happen.
High-speed internet for our dreams. I'm so there. But, okay, let's talk about the actual manifesting part. How do we go from high-vibe energy to, tangible results?
Well, since Sarah's a big believer in visualization.
Okay, visualization. I've heard of vision boards and stuff like that. But honestly, sometimes it all feels a little, I don't know, like magical thinking.
I totally get that. But Sincero breaks it down in a way that makes sense. It's not just about, wishing really hard and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
It's about creating a clear vision of what you want. And here's the key, connecting with that vision on an emotional level.
Feeling it as if it's already happened.
Exactly.
Okay, I could see how that would be powerful.
Right. Like if you want to manifest a new car, it's not just about picturing yourself driving it. It's about feeling the excitement of that new car smell, the freedom of hitting the open road.
So it's like we're creating a movie in our minds, but we're also the star of the movie, fully immersed in the experience.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's where the magic really starts to happen, when we can tap into those emotions.
Love it. And it's not just about our internal world either, right?
Yeah.
Sincero also talks about the importance of upgrading our external environment.
Absolutely. Our surroundings can either reflect our dreams or reinforce our limitations.
Right. Remember that part where she talks about the Sanford and Son theme song?
Oh, yeah. Classic.
It's like, if your surroundings are stuck in a rut, it's going to be hard to manifest abundance and awesomeness.
So true.
So what are some practical things we can do to upgrade our environment in a way that supports our inner badass?
Well, it doesn't have to be anything drastic. Sometimes the smallest changes can make a big difference.
Okay, good to know. Because I'm not about to go full-on Marie Kondo on my entire apartment right now.
I hear you. It could be as simple as, finally cleaning out that junk drawer you've been avoiding.
Ooh, my junk drawer is calling my name.
Or maybe adding some fresh flowers to your workspace, or lighting a scented candle that makes you feel inspired.
Ooh, I like that. It's like we're giving our dreams some breathing room,
Yeah.
making space for them to show up in our lives.
Exactly. It's all about creating a space that feels aligned with the energy you want to attract.
So we're clear on the visualization, we're upgrading our environment, feeling the good vibes, but what about those moments when fear creeps in? I feel like that's where I tend to get tripped up.
Fear is totally normal, especially when we're stretching ourselves, stepping outside of our comfort zones.
Right.
And Sincero talks about how fear can often disguise itself as practicality or even responsibility.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more about that.
It's that voice that says, oh, maybe it's not the right time, or don't rock the boat, or play it safe.
Yeah, who do you think you are to want something more?
Exactly.
Ugh, that voice is the worst.
It's the voice of the big snooze, remember?
Right, the big snooze. Trying to
Yeah.
keep us small and safe.
Exactly. But Sincero encourages us to get curious about that fear. Like, okay, fear, I hear you, but what if I did it scared anyway?
Ooh, I love that. It's like, fear, you're coming with me, but you don't get to drive.
Exactly.
This has been amazing, by the way. I'm feeling so inspired right now.
Me too. Sincero's energy is contagious, isn't it?
Totally. But before we wrap up, I wanted to touch on something else that really struck me about this book. It's her sense of humor. She's so funny, even when she's talking about deep existential stuff.
Right. She's not afraid to be real, to be vulnerable, to make fun of herself even.
Exactly. And I think that's part of what makes her message so relatable and so powerful. She's not coming from this place of, I have it all figured out. she's right there with us, figuring it out as she goes.
100%.
And that's inspiring, you know? It makes me feel like, okay, maybe I can do this whole badass thing too, and maybe I could even have a little fun along the way.
Absolutely. And that's what Sincero would want, right? For
Mhm.
us to embrace the journey, to laugh at ourselves when we stumble, and to never, ever give up on our dreams. So go out there, be a badass, and create a life that lights you up.
I love that. And there you have it, folks, another deep dive in the books. Today, we explored the powerful ideas in Jen Sincero's You Are a Badass, a book that reminds us that we are all capable of creating lives we love. Remember, it all starts with embracing your inner badass, quieting that pesky big snooze, and taking action towards your dreams with a whole lot of heart and a dash of humor. Until next time, keep shining.